Okay, so let's start with our lab 4 for chapter 5. So you can follow the similar approach on what you were doing for the past labs. Like, you could have a single file with your all the file with your program separated by comments. Again, I will not be attaching comments to my code. So before you submit, make sure that you're adding comments to your code. Okay, so with that, let's start with the first question, that is defining and calling functions. Professional Service INC offers maintenance and repair services for household appliances. The owner wants to give each of the company service technicians a small handheld computer that displays step-by-step instructions for many of the repairs that they perform. To see how this might work, the owner has asked you to develop a program that displays the following instructions for disassembling an Acme dryer, laundry dryer. So the step 1 is to unplug the dryer and move it away from the wall. Step 2, remove the 6 screws from the back of the dryer. Step 3, remove the dryer's back panel. Step 4, pull the top of the dryer straight up. During your interview with the owner, you determine that the program should display the one step at a time. You decide that after each step is displayed, the user will be asked to press enter key to see the next step. Here is the algorithm in pseudocode. So you're basically displaying the first starting message, explaining what the program does. Next, ask the user to press enter to see step 1. So display the instructions for step 1, step 2, enter step 2, and so on and so forth. So the program structure is like this. Main, so you'll have total 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 programs. So inside the main, like the function, you'll be calling the rest of the 5 functions. Your startup message will display the starting message that tells the what the program does. Next is it will display the instructions for step 1. Step 2 will display the instructions for step 2. 3 will display the instructions for step 3. 4 will display the instruction for step 4. Between calls to these functions, the main function will instruct the user to press key to see the next step in the instructions. That is, you are going to have the statement print enter to see the next step in your main function as well. So with this structure, let's start our program. Okay. Oh, my bad. Yeah. Okay, so I'm just going to start with comments and have this as P1. Yeah, first, as I've mentioned, even though the question doesn't ask you to start with the main function, I want you to include functions for each and every possible, like, wherever there is a chance, even though you could get that without using the function, I want you to use functions there. So that is what I'll be doing this in this lab. So that I want you to follow the same approach from all the programming assignments or labs or exams from this point onwards, okay? And then first function is the startup message. So let's call the startup message function. And here the main function will instruct the user to press key to see the next steps, right? So we will take the statement input, press enter to see step 1. Next, let's call the step 1 function. Now I'm going to repeat that again for step 2 as well. That is step 2, step 3, step 4. Yeah. So this is step 2. And then you are calling the step 2 function. This is step 3, calling the step 3 function. Step 4, you are calling the step 4 function. Yeah, okay. Now we are done with our main function. To come out of the function, all we have to do is press backspace. Now my cursor is its original position. Now let's define the first function, that is startup message. So in this startup message, your job is to just print what this program does. This program displays the step-by-step process I'm just going to type something. You can type whatever you want, like to describe the function, like the program. Doesn't have to be this exact same sentence. So this is your startup message function. So after this, coming out of this, hit enter. I'm starting my second important part, that is defining my step 1 function. So step 1 will display unplug the dryer and move it away from the wall. That is the statement from step 1. So that will be print unplug the dryer and move it away from the wall. Oh, did not close the parenthesis. Hit enter. Backspace. You're out of the step 1 function. Now let's define step 2 function. And here, print. Remove the 6 screws from the back of the dryer. I have the same PDF, like the Word document, towards on my other screen. So I'm just going to take the data from there. Okay. Backspace. Next, define step 3. Print. What is the step 3? That is remove the dryer's back panel. Remove the dryer's back panel. Next, define step 4. Next, print. Pull the top of the dryer straight up. That is our 4th instruction. So I'm just going to bring that here. So now we are done with our 4 steps. What are we supposed to do? We have to call the main function. If we do not call the main function, then none of the steps will be executed. They'll be compiled, but they'll not be executed. Okay, so now let's save this program. So I think I was here. Lab4, chapter 5. Let's run this. So the first statement is this program displays the step-by-step process. That is our startup message. Press enter to see step 1. Enter, unplug the dryer and move it away from the wall is your step 1. Next, enter, enter, enter. That's it. So can anyone guess which type of function is this? Which type of functions are all the other functions except for the main one? These are all void or non-value returning functions. As these are not returning anything, they can be called as void or non-value returning functions. Terminology is important, guys. You have to understand and then remember the terms. Oh, it's Alt3. Yeah. Let's start the second program. Also, the programs might look lengthier, like, that just took like 1.5 pages, but it's nothing. It's just like 15 lines of code. So do not get scared when you look at the questions as well, because those are relatively simple. It's just the English is too much. That's it. So your friend Michael runs a catering company. Some of the ingredients that his recipes require are measured in cups. When he goes to the grocery store to buy those ingredients, however, they are sold only by fluid ounces. He has asked you to write a simple program that converts cups to fluid ounces. You design the following algorithm. Display an introductory screen that explains what the program does. Next, get the number of cups, convert the number of cups to fluid ounces, and then display the result. So you will have 3 functions in total: main, intro, and cups to ounces functions with cups as your argument. Even that is very important. We'll see how that is important when we are working with this program. Okay, so the main function has two different functions. One is intro and cups to ounces. The intro function will display a message on the screen that explains what the program does. Cups to ounces will take the number of cups as an argument and then convert that into fluid ounces. In addition to calling these functions, the main function will ask the user to enter the number of cups. This value will be passed to cups to ounces function. So when you are solving this problem, you could directly just use a variable number is equal to input enter the number of cups. But as I want to use functions, I will create another function just to get the data from the user. Okay, so instead of having two functions in our main block, we will be having three. One is intro, next is getting the data from the user, three is cups to ounces conversion. So let's do this. Okay, let's define main. And from main, we are first calling the intro function, which is basically the message. Again, like what the program does. Next, let's call cups is equal to get cups function. So we are assigning a variable that is, and we are calling the function get cups. Next, let's call the function cups to ounces with cups as your argument. Yeah, that's it. Now let's define our first function, that is intro. Print. Let's say this program converts cups to fluid ounces. That is our intro. Next thing is defining get cups function. So basically you are getting some data from the user. Let's just call it number of cups is equal to int input, enter the number of cups. Now you are taking that value and you are giving that, or you are assigning that value to your cups variable right here. So you should have a return statement, return number of cups. So you might wonder, like, what happens if you try to enter any statements below the return function? It will not count as part of that function. So whichever statements that you want to type, like notice the indentation, I hit enter, I'm outside that function. So if let's say I am forcefully writing some statements here, the statement underneath the return function or the return statement will not be executed. They will not be counted as your statements at all. Okay. So that detail is also important. Now let's define our final function, that is cups to ounces. Cups to ounces. And we are giving one argument. So we should have at least one parameter variable. Not at least one, we should have one definite parameter variable. Even if you have more than that, then that's an error as well. Because the function will be expecting two arguments and you are only feeding one. So you should have one parameter variable. Now, just to make it different, like, just to use a different variable, I'm going to use capital C UP, cup. Instead of cups, I'm going to use cup. So now cup is equal to cup times 8. So basically that is equal to 1 cup to fluid ounces is times 8. So now you're just printing cups to ounces are, comma, cup. Call the main function. So when you execute this, enter the number of cups. Let's say 5. 5 is the number of cups. So we should be seeing the output 40. Cups to ounces are 40. So in other ways, like, you could also have the statement right here. Just approach 2 is to just have the statement here. Instead of having get cups, you could just have it like this. And you can also define get cups, like when you're defining get cups, you could also define that inside a different function call. So you could also have this as cups to ounces of get cups. That will also work. Oh, sorry. Yeah, that will also work. You're still going to return something that will be the input for cups to ounces function. Hope that is clear. Let's see third problem. Using global constants. So Merlin works for Integrated Systems Inc., a software company that has a reputation of providing excellent fringe benefits. One of their benefits is a quarterly bonus that is paid to all the employees. Another fringe benefit is a retirement plan for each employee. The company contributes 5% of each employee's gross pay and bonuses to their retirement plans. So we do know that company has a fixed amount that is 5%. So which gives us that 5% is a fixed number and that cannot be changed throughout our program. So we can declare that 5% as a global constant. So whenever you are reading the program, I want you to understand the terminology and understand the meaning behind the sentences as well. Merlin wants to write a program that will calculate the company's contribution to an employee's retirement account for a year. She wants the program to show the amount of contribution for the employee's gross pay and the bonuses separately. Here is an algorithm. Get the employee's annual gross pay. So we do know whenever you have a get, that is basically you are asking the user to enter that information. Next is get the amount of bonuses paid to the employee. Calculate and display the contribution for the gross pay. Calculate and display the contribution for the bonuses. So we now have 4 different functions. Let's do this. Okay, so we have the first global constant contribution, which is 5%. So I'm just going to write it as 0.05, which is also 5%, basic math. Now let's define our main function. Yeah. Inside the main function, let's call the first employee's annual gross pay, right? Get the employee's annual gross pay. So let's call this as gross pay is equal to GPay or get gross pay so that it's easier to understand, like the words as well. Gross pay is equal to get gross pay. Next is amount of bonuses paid to the employee. So let's say bonus is equal to get bonus. Calculate and display what? Contribution for the gross pay, next contribution for the bonuses. Okay, so let's say contribution for gross pay is our next function, and contribution for bonus is our last function. But should there be anything, should we give any data to these function calls? We should. That means gross pay should be the argument for calculating the gross pay. Bonus should be the argument for calculating the bonus. So here I'm going to use gross pay, and here I'm going to use bonus. Now let's get to defining the functions. Ask the user to enter the gross pay. And next, you must return the gross pay as well. Now let's define get bonus. I can use the same variable. It doesn't matter because this bonus has a scope for the main function. This bonus has a scope of get bonus function. So these two are local variables. Now let's define contribution for GPay with gross, or let's just call it gross P. So gross P and gross pay and the GPay are the same values, right? Because we are using the concept of pass by argument. So that will be gross P is equal to gross P times contribution. So I'm going to use augmented assignment operator and then use the contribution value, which I have declared as my global constant. And then let's have a print statement. There is another way to write this as well. I'll show you how we can write it. The contribution for gross pay is and if I use the set variable like special identifier, it will remove the space between my arguments. That's the reason I'm doing that. Next, define contribution for bonus. Same one. So bon times equal to contribution. And contribution towards bonus is this. Now let's call the main function. Now let's execute this program. Says get cross pay is not defined. See that? That's a mistake. So I have called the function with get gross pay, but when I'm defining the function, I have used gross pay. That is my bad. So you should always use the same function names. That's a lesson. Yeah, now it is asking me to enter the gross pay. Let's say I would enter 55,000. Bonus could be 5,000. What now? says type error with none type. Did I not declare? I did declare it. It should do it, even though it is okay. It is calculating for gross pay, but for bonus, it is throwing an error. Why? Oh, did anyone point why? So the main error is not this. The main error is bonus is having some garbage value because I did not return the value from my get bonus function. So that's the reason why, as this is garbage value, which can also have, if you want to see what that value is, let's see what the value is. So let's enter the same numbers. 55,000, 5,000. It says none. As none cannot be multiplied with a number, I'm getting the type error value. So the error is basically I did not return the value from my get bonus function. So now it should work. Contribution towards cross pay is 2750 and then bonus is 250. Okay, so as I told you before, we could always have a different approach. So instead of having the print statement inside that, we could always have that print statement outside. So I can just have that here. And instead of gross P, I can have the function call here as well. That will also work. That's your second approach. When you're submitting, it's okay, it's up to you, like if you want to use first approach, second approach, but it's basically up to you. I'm just showing you different representations on how you can write the program, and there is no one solution for all. And that is how I'll know if anyone's cheating as well in the exams or anything like that. I hope none of you do that. P4. Start with P4. Using random numbers. So Dr. Kimura teaches an introductory statistics class and has asked you to write a program that he can use in class to simulate the rolling of dice. The program should randomly generate two numbers in the range of 1 through 6 and display them. In your interview with doctor, you learn that he would like to use the program to simulate several rolls of the dice, one after the other. Here is a pseudocode of the program. While the user wants to roll the dice, so you are getting the data from the user first. You're asking, do you want to roll the dice? If the user says yes, then as long as the response is yes, you are displaying in the random number in the range of 1 through 6. So as you know that these values are integers, we could just use random.randint. Next, you are displaying another random number in the range of 1 through 6. So you could just call the function twice. Ask if the user, if he or she wants to roll the dice again. So you're asking, response is equal to, do you want to continue? You will write a while loop that simulates one roll of a dice and then ask the user if another roll should be performed. As long as the user says yes, the loop will repeat. So it's basically a very straightforward program. So as we are going to use random module, I gave away the answer. As we are going to use random functions, we are first importing random module. right? So habituated in teaching in-person classes, and this is, I keep asking questions. Okay, so inside the main function, let's have a while loop. Oh, first, we need to get the response from the user. Response, so input, do you want to continue? Enter Y for yes. Now, while response, what should be the condition? As long as the response is yes, only then you should roll the dice. So while response is equal to Y, only then you are going to display a random number in the range of 1 through 6. Oof. So we could directly use print random dot rand int 1, 6. I think the second argument is not included. So let's see. 1, 7. And then response is equal to input. Do you want to continue? Enter Y for yes. Now let's call the main function. Six two. Second argument is also included. That shows me that. Okay. So we could just make this 6. Exit 1 through 6. Yeah. So the loop will execute as long as the user would like to repeat it. As I've entered 2 Ys, as it is not equal to Y, the while condition has become false. So these statements have not executed. And you're coming out of the program. If you want to have another statement that just shows that you just have the statement inside the print function, inside the main function. Do you want to continue? Let's say yes. It's yes. Yet. That way it just gets much more finer. That's it. That's your program 4. To P5. Modularizing the code with functions. So Hal owns a business named Make Your Own Music, which sells guitars, drums, banjos, synthesizers, and many other musical instruments. Hal's sales staff works strictly on commission. At the end of the month, each salesperson commission is calculated according to this table. So if the sales this month is less than this much, then the commission rate is this. If it is in between these two numbers, then it is 12%. If it is this, and that is that. For example, a salesperson with 16,000 in monthly sales will earn a 14% commission. Another salesperson of 18,000 will earn 16% commission, so on and so forth. Because of the staff gets paid once per month, Hall allows each employee to take up to 2,000 per month in advance. When sales commissions are calculated, the amount of each employee's advanced pay is subtracted from the commission, right? Because we don't want to overpay the employees. If any salesperson commissions are less than the amount of their advance, they must reimburse Hall for the difference. To calculate the salesperson's monthly pay, Hall uses the following formula. That is, pay is equal to sales times commission rate minus advanced pay. Hall asked you to write a program that makes this calculation for him. The following general algorithm outlines the steps of the program must take. First is get the salesperson's monthly sales. So you're basically asking the salesperson to enter the monthly sales. Next, get the amount of advanced pay. That's basically 2,000 per month. So there is no point in getting that. We can just directly make it as a global constant and fix that to 2,000. Use the amount of monthly sales to determine the commission rate. So that is from this table. Next, calculate the salesperson's pay using the formula previously shown. That is this. If the amount is negative, indicate that the salesperson must reimburse the company. If the amount is positive, then we'll just let the person know that he will be getting this much in this month, like that amount in that particular month. Okay. So first part is comment in the previous code. Next is we could follow the advance pay, or we could make that as a global constant. So what I'm going to do is first I will get that amount from the user, which is 2,000, which is fixed from the question. Second approach, I can just make that as a global constant. Okay. Because I want you to learn both, like writing the function and also making global constants. So with that, first I'll start with main function. And inside the main function, let's get the monthly sales is equal to get monthly sales. Next, get the amount of advance is equal to get advance. Next, commission, spelling mistake. Oh no. Commission rate is equal to calculate com rate. And for this calculation, we will need the monthly sales from the user, right? Because depending upon that, we are going to calculate the commission rate. So that's the reason why monthly sales will be the argument for this function call. I hope that is clear. Now let's calculate the pay. So towards the end, sales calculate pay by using, we'll use monthly sales. We'll use the advance. Sales, commission rate and advance pay. Okay. So I'm going to use the same order, commission rate and advance. So now let's define the first function. That is monthly sales. This is month sale is equal to, we could do in float or we could do in int, doesn't matter. Let's just do float. Now return month sale, right? If we don't return it, then we will have the same issue like I had in the previous example. It will be none. So define get advance. Oops. and then get the advance from the user. We know that this is 2000 from the problem. Now let's return advance. Now define commission rate. Oh no, define. I'm doing the same mistake again. I have to make sure that your function name is same everywhere. So I'm just going to call this as msale. Msale and monthly sales and month sale will be the same number. So msale is equal to, nope, we are going to calculate the commission rate, right? So com rate is equal to msale. Oh, we have to, depending upon the range, then we have to calculate the commission rate, right? So for this, let's have a structure, decision structure. So if msale is less than 10,000, then com rate is equal to 10%, that is 0.01. We have multiple conditions, so it would be better to use else if. So elif msale is in between 10,000 and 14,999. So msale is greater than or equal to 10,000 and msale is less than or equal to 14,999. Com rate is equal to 0.12. And this is 0.10. Oh no, 0.101 is correct. Yeah, next it is 14. Next, LF, msale. So I'm just lazy in my own ways. So what I'm going to do is I'll just copy this part, LF part, Control C, hit enter here, backspace, and then enter here. So it is from 15,000 and 17,999. So it should be 14, correct? Yeah. Next, if it is from 18,000 and less than 21,999. In that case, this should be 16. Next, we can just have LF. msale is just greater than 22,000. Then com rate is set to 18. We could just return com rate. So now we are calculating the commission rate. So we have now calculated the commission rate depending upon the table. Next is we have to calculate the pay. So define calculate pay with msale month. Let's just call it as sale, comma rate, comma ADV for advance. So with this value, so we have pay is equal to the formula, that is What? Sales times commission rate minus advance pay. So sale times rate minus ADV. And then you return pay. Oh, we are not returning pay. We are calculating the pay, and then we have to determine if the salesperson owes Hall anything. So we could just do if pay is less than 0, then print you owe Hall. It's HL, yeah. $. P value followed by step to remove the spaces in between the arguments. Else print your pay is pay. So then, as we are not returning anything, there is no need to assign this to a variable. You could just call the function. And then you are printing the values from here. That's it. Call the main function. Get monthly sales is not defined. Where did I make the mistake again? Ah, same thing. I made the same mistake. That monthly sales. Yeah, okay. Enter the monthly sales. Let's say it is more than 22,000. So let's make it 25,000. And advance is set to 2,000. Your pay is 2,500. Now let's run with a different condition where the user is not making much of a pay. So then if let's say user is making 5,000, bonus is 2,000. So you owe Hall this much. Can we make this like this just to represent it in positive terms? Not sure. Let's try. I'm just, instead of representing with the negative sign, I'm just making that positive, but he still owes 1950. Okay, so this is when you are asking the user to enter the advance, but from the question, advance is fixed, right? So we could always make advance approach 2. We could always make advance a global constant and then set that to 2,000. So if you are if you are following this advance is equal to 2,000, then in that case, you could just remove all of this. And then instead of advance here, you are going to use the advance variable here. You will always remove this. You will remove this and the function call, and then replace advance with capital advance. Okay. Oops. My bad. Okay. Now let's talk about the last program. 6. Turtle graphics. Oh, this is the last one. So write a program to display squares at different coordinates and at various widths as mentioned below. Square 1, xy coordinates, with color x2 square 2 xy coordinates with color square 3 xy coordinates color. So hint is to define a function called squares. So that's basically the question itself is giving you the entire answer for that code. So as we are working with turtle, the first statement is to import turtle, right? Next, let's just define the main function, and inside the main function call square function 3 times with x values being 100, 0, width is 100, and the color is blue. Next, call the squares function again with minus 150, minus 100, 50, red. Next, calls the square function again, minus 200, 170, 75, green. Yeah, that's it. Now let's define the squares function. So we have x, y, width is your variable, and then color is your next variable. So first thing is, as we are going to that particular coordinates, I'm using pen up, turtle dot pen up. Next, let's ask the turtle to go to that x and y coordinates. So now that the turtle is here, let's do pen down. Now we need the fill color to be color variable, right? Whichever color that we want the turtle to be, that will be the color. Now let's start turtle dot begin fill. And let's fill this turtle dot forward with, oh, okay. So if I don't want to repeat this 4 to 5 times, then we could just use loop. So for n in range 4, because turtle has 4 sides, turtle dot forward with width, turtle dot right 90 or left 90, doesn't matter. And then turtle dot end fill. Let's call the main function. If you do not want to see the turtle, we could just use turtle dot hide turtle. Yeah, so it's straightforward. Wait. Yeah. If we do not do hide turtle, like, if we comment this one out, I like the way that we could see the turtle's head with different directions. See the blue turtle head, it's red turtle head, then it's green turtle head. What happens? Okay, so it still doesn't show me the turtle head. Okay. Oh, because that is being executed first. That's the reason why we don't see the turtle heads. I wanted to see the turtle head, but after the complete picture is done, it should stop showing me the turtle head. So just for that, I can create another function. And I can call this turtle head function. I want this to be done. I want this to be done. I can call that here. Okay. Towards the end of everything. Or maybe I could have just used that statement here. Yeah, that would have solved everything. Duh. Let's see. Yeah. Or we could just take this one and then have that here. I think that will also do the same operation. Yeah. Yes, so that is one approach. This is a different approach. So it's up to you. Okay, so with that, we are done with our chapter 5 lab. Soon I'll be posting chapter 5, 6 programming assignment, and then 7, 8 will be one programming assignment. So after your chapter 6 is done, like by the time we are almost done with your chapter 6, I'll be posting the programming assignment with 5 and 6 questions. Yeah, okay. I think that's it. So you will also find the quiz for chapter 5 in your Canvas. So get to that once you are done with this lecture. Cool. See you guys in the next class.